A common dilemma many students struggle with is figuring out the best way to start and develop a drawing. And two of the most common ways you'll see is going from the outside in versus going from the inside out. Uh, which is better? Which should you use? And what does it even mean to go inside out or outside in? Of course, I couldn't complete this video without giving a big thank you to everyone who supported my books, Pen and Ink Drawing a Simple Guide and the complimentary Pen and Ink Drawing Workbook. And I'm working really hard to have my third book out to you soon. I know right now I'm not as active on here as you'd like me to be, so I really appreciate your patience, everyone. Thank you. Now, although there is obviously no absolute right or best way to start and develop a drawing, having a consistent and systematic approach is important. And I see many students struggle with this. And trying to navigate between these two extremes of drawing from outside in and drawing from inside out. So in this video, we'll take a little side-by-side look at the process of two simple studies I did of this skull using each approach, so you can see the sketches develop as we talk about it. So starting and developing a drawing from outside in essentially refers to the drawing on the right, where you can start out by thinking of the whole form or subject, right? You focus on the bigger shapes, bigger masses, bigger relationships, the overall structure. So you can see more of the construction lines, the blocking in shapes. The general process goes from light and general and simple, almost you can't even recognize what you're starting with, and using big shapes and masses, and gradually becoming more complex and more specific and clear. You will spend more time establishing proportions and the core structure as the basic framework for the rest of the drawing. However, what's important too though is the mechanics of the process. You start light-handed and loose with more gestural and sweeping movements as we're looking for the bigger overarching lines and contours and shapes and those bigger relationships. And you can see this reflected even in the way I modify my hand grips as the drawing progresses. On the other hand, an inside-out approach, like in the drawing on the left, you start not necessarily inside, all right, but with a part of the subject and expand on it until you develop the whole thing. So you're focusing on a part of the subject and visualizing how it relates to the whole as you go along. So an interesting thing here too is that I not only did each drawing in a different approach, but I also did in a different medium. So the medium in a way emphasizes the approach, you know what I mean? So the pencil sketch, for example, emphasizes the outside-in process where the drawing is developed starting with light, loose lines and blocking in, and gradually refining the subject as we become more confident and and certain about our decisions. While the ink sketch, there's no luxury of sketching in light construction lines or guidelines, or like erasing if we're unsure about something, or gradually refining shapes and forms. No, you have to dive right in. So we have to kind of think of proportions in a different way. So using each point or each line as a reference to predict and place the next, and thinking relationally about each feature as we proceed. So while accepting that every mark is permanent and final, we can't go back. And this creates a different drawing experience altogether. And although there are no guidelines, right, no light layouts to follow, we're still visualizing the alignments and relationships, but doing it mentally. So it can be a bit more challenging for students and beginners. Now, the cool thing is that each approach offers a different and unique drawing experience. I would say that I believe beginners and students should learn to develop drawings by going outside in first, where you learn to establish the big core shapes and proportions first. You start from general to simple in a sense, and gradually and steadily develop and refine your drawing. So the drawing gets more complex and more detailed over time. Now, truth be told, although the ink sketch appears a bit unplanned, unintentional, and more spontaneous, and it is, to an extent, a really different experience, but it's still based on thinking about big relationships too. those guidelines and basic shapes are still thought about. I still have them in mind. They're just established mentally. So either approach is not necessarily, better or worse. Necessarily, it's just different. Each providing its own invaluable learning experience and requiring a distinct set of skills and techniques. So they're really just different tools to solving a common problem. And I would advise every student to practice and at least become a little familiar with both. Like I mentioned in previous videos, it is necessary to have a degree of versatility or adaptability in your approach to drawing any subject, right? It can be as simple as challenging yourself to look at or visualizing the subject in a different way, a way you're not used to, starting your drawing from outside in as opposed to inside out, if that's how you're used to doing it. Making measurements in a different way or not at all, rendering with a slightly different technique and so on. You may not only learn something new, but ultimately it can help you to be a better problem solver. And remember, drawing ultimately is a problem solving activity. The more tools, the better. Okay, so it's not a matter of, which way is better or which way is right. It's about arming yourself with as many tools as possible. All right, because I'm sure you're going to be confronted with a subject or an issue or a situation where you wish you had a different way or could experiment with a different way of approaching a subject, or shading or drawing or constructing a drawing, whatever it is. Drawing is a problem solving activity. Okay, so thanks everyone for watching. I hope there was something you found useful in this video. Remember to give it a like and share it with who you think would enjoy it or find it useful as well. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next video.